Всем привет, меня зовут Filtun, and today we'll be talking about a certain topic that has to do with Animal Jam, and I want to say that there's going to be certain things in the video that people might find offensive or not appropriate. So if you guys want to not hear about that stuff, please click off. It would be better for you and your mental health. Anyway, let's get into it. So, here we go. Hey Feltons, today I have a more serious topic on Animal Jam I would like to discuss today that worries me a bit. So, I'd like to let everyone know you are free to share your experience with the topic I am discussing. By the way, I would like to say this is my first and foremost scripted video, so tell me if you'd like to see more content like this. It would really help my channel out the most in helping me better our community. Now, let's get into it. As we all know, the LGBTQ community is a well-known community among the internet for people who have different sexualities and genders. You may ask, what does this have to do with Animal Jam? Well, I'll explain this. In the Animal Jam, homophobia seems to get more common. Among in Jama or Pillow Room, you will usually find someone who could be classified as a troll, or just a burner account so that way they can't get actually banned from the game. Now, what do? Just ignore them and leave them to run amok, or stand up against them and fight for your community's respect? Right, you would stand up against them, because if you let these kind of people just run wild, they'll start thinking it's okay to do this sort of stuff. Yes, you should probably ignore them, but this might screw up a child's mind who is playing the game, as yes, still, most of the player base is really young. I find it frustrating when people are so mentally challenged that they feel the need to attack a happy community for whatever their damn reason is. Just a reminder, LGBTQ indoctrination does not exist. In fact, if you're a homophobe, you're basically indoctrinating other people to believe what you believe. You're brainwashing them, despite science showing evidence that trans people exist, gay people exist, yet you want to ignore the truth and try banning a community just from getting the help they need. No, you do not care about the children. There's a difference between teaching to be supportive and kind to those who are different from the norm, and indoctrinating people to believe what you believe and turning them into nasty people. Yet we as a community have nothing against you. We did nothing wrong except fight for our rights, and all you do is try taking them away. And for what? Also, you're all wrong about using woke as a negative term. You're an absolute pathetic bigot if you're trying to use woke as negative. Woke is a positive slang term for being aware for rights, aka BLM. But this isn't what this video is about, so let's continue on. So, let's talk about the bigoted people that are in our game and roaming the game right now. So, basically, what kind of people are in the Pillow Room are usually, the normal friend group, people you can meet, make friends, and all sorts of stuff like that, wholesome. But then there's people who are saying that LGBTQ is a joke, or LGBTQ is, bad, or something like that. And since there are still kids in the game who probably might enter the Pillow Room by accident, they might end up getting brainwashed by these people and starting to think that LGBTQ is bad and they should be shamed for being themselves. Now, this is completely wrong to do, as, believe me or not, this is a children's game. Not a game where you can basically judge people for whatever they have. That's not what Animal Jam is for. Especially because Animal Jam headquarters supports, LGBTQ rights, and they respect the people who are different from, straight or, cisgender. And that's amazing because, being supportive is a good thing. And trust me, when they released that Pride collection, I'm pretty sure everyone was pretty happy about that. But, it started happening on Pride Month where everyone started being offensive on this game, saying that LGBTQ people deserve to, die. LGBTQ people deserve to burn in fire. And sending death threats to people is not okay. That is awful to do. And by the way, guys, do not do that. Please. Sending death threats is very inappropriate and it's not okay. That should not be accepted in our game, especially because there's children. And a lot of trans people end their lives over the fact they get bullied just for being themselves. And that's awful. And it's like no transphobes or whatever have any sympathy because they're so careless and they only care about getting rid of the LGBTQ community, which is inappropriate and not okay. So, what I mean in like Jama, which is less common to see, but you'll still manage to see it sometimes. You'll see somebody saying like, LGBTQ is a joke, I hate June, or Pride Month is the worst, bullshit like that. And they'll say lots of hateful and offensive things. A person started calling me a faggot because I'm, gay and trans. Well, I'm not necessarily gay. I guess you could call me queer or pan. But in general, they called me a faggot. They're passing chat filters. And usually these kind of people also hate black people. They'll usually, bypass the chat filter by saying, the N-word. I will not say it as it is offensive, and, as a mixed person, I do not like hearing the word. So, I'll go ahead and continue on with that. So, basically, they'll try discriminating against you and your community for, whatever reason, because they probably have no parents or their parents never taught them any manners, that's for sure. And, when it comes to these kinds of people, they will usually attract a mob of, getting attention. Usually they say that, they just want attention. Oh, just block them. Hell no. I mean, it's just so hard to not ignore it because, who knows what could happen. Like, if we just ignore them, they'll go around in the game saying stuff like LGBTQ bad, do not support LGBTQ because they're, whatever they say, and, they could say something to the children playing this game who are probably extremely young, I don't know, probably around 8 or something. They could brainwash these children into thinking that LGBTQ people are bad, and LGBTQ people are, I don't know what other terms are there to describe it, but they'll try saying that LGBTQ is terrible and they're bad and they suck or something like that, or whatever they say. And they'll say that we're maps and we like to touch children. Who the fuck does that? They never provide any proof that we have ever done that, yet they want to go out saying that, grasping at straws, and continuing to deny that science has proven we are real, and there's nothing wrong with going into the correct bathroom that is assigned with our identity. Because identity and biology are completely different. You guys say that gender, you can't change it. Gender is an identity, not biology. Sex is what your assigned gender at birth is. So, for example, I'm AFAB, which stands for a female at birth. And, cool, whatever. But when it comes to gender, that's a whole different thing. That is something you can change. No, there isn't only two genders. Non-binary, it's not a gender. Because what does it stand for? Non-binary. It means you don't have a gender within the binary. It means you have none. Absolutely none. And y'all are stupid enough to be like, oh, well, there's no other gender. How are you so fucking stupid? And people in this game, they get so sensitive over them having to see LGBTQ people just, existing. And I don't know why they're so offended by it. But back on topic. So these people are usually, racist or offensive or whatever. And usually they are bigots. So they want to say that transgender people are bad. Should a man go into a women's bathroom? Excuse me, trans women are women. Don't deny it. Because science has proved through MRIs, which are these systems that, record, brain injury, have proven that trans women have the same mindset and brain functions as a cis woman, and same goes for trans, or should I say likewise. And yet, all I want to do is just spread misinformation over trans people and they're bad. So, more on that later, but it seems more prevalent that they want, pride parades to stop. They want, LGBTQ plus people to basically not exist in this world. What is with you if you feel that way? We're still human and that will never change. We still do great things just as, non-LGBTQ people can. And yet you choose to discriminate over a minority and pick out a small percentage of people that are, bad apples in our community and argue over that when there are more good apples than the bad. The good outweighs the bad right now. And that's positive. But they always just look on the negative side and never look at the positive side. And they never want to hear another perspective of things, and yet only want to hear their own perspective because they're that bigoted. And for what? Nothing, I guess I could just say. And, they don't want to listen to you. They'll never listen to you. They only want to get things across their side and never want to hear things from the other. That is a complete joke. Because you're trying to have a leveled argument or a conversation, you should hear at least from both sides. But, when it comes to phobia or transphobia, no, not getting their side. Their side does not deserve to be heard. It's just straight up offensive. And I do not get why people are like this in game. So I'm hoping that this problem should eventually be resolved. And I bet MGM has a brighter future for everything and is not as common the bullying and harassment and, the homophobic and transphobic people. There's one more thing that I do find a little bit annoying, is that you cannot call out transphobes or homophobes, and Animal Jam is covering it with religion, which religion is not an excuse for your bigotry, homophobia, or transphobia. It is never an excuse, nor can you use God as a way to excuse your behavior. Although I do not believe in God, I am a Taoist. Some of you who are my audience might be Christian, and you can be Christian and an ally or a lesbian, or transgender. It doesn't matter who you are. It's okay to believe in what you believe, but it's not okay to use what you believe as a way to defend your bigotry. Anyway, I feel that this video is getting too long. I hope you guys will be able to share any of your experiences with the topic, and thank you all for watching, and good